This episode of Invent America Radio is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King Broadcasting Network and has been bringing you the best of America's home-based product innovation since 1998.
Broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is Home Talk USA. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host Rita Crompton. Discover what's next for new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world. As Mike Rita Crompton talked to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today.
Hello, America, and welcome to Invent America, because America invents.
Yahee! This is the Invent America show right here on the Home Talk USA Radio Network. Welcome all of you. We have a great hour for you. And don't forget, hour number 3, we're going to have Greg Owens, the Made in America guy, will be here. But hey, she's back a couple weeks from the ASD Market Week, and we're talking to some of her people she met over there. But she's here, the Inventor Lady herself, my sidekick. How you doing, Miss Rita, Inventor Lady?
I am doing just fine, sir. Enjoying springtime and getting things done now that ASD is over, and working with inventors to kind of get prepared actually for next year.
It's a year process, man. Year-long process, ain't it?
It is. So, we get going, and, where things have started to shift now with the economy, we're looking at bringing a lot of manufacturing back to the U.S. So it fits in great with our Made in America Hour and all of those, questions that are being asked about, manufacturing in the U.S. and what does it mean. So we're going to jump right in today and talk to inventors who are looking to manufacture in the U.S.
As a matter of fact, in the third hour with Greg Owens, we're going to be talking about the tariffs and how they affect and what's going on, and so we sure hope our audience listens to that. But it's one big family. It has to do with everything on one big umbrella. I mean, what's the use of producing product if you can't sell it? What's the use of producing product if it's too expensive to manufacture? There's a whole bunch of problems here. And that's what we're trying to address. You
exactly.
Yeah.
I was talking to my mother the other day, and she goes, well, your inventors better all hurry up and get something done, because once these tariffs go into effect, nobody's going to be able to do anything. And I said, well, you're really misunderstanding what's going on. And fortunately, we had already had Greg as our speaker at the Inventors Roundtable meeting. So I understood what was going on better, and I could explain it to my 90-year-old mother, whom I love dearly, but she's, a little bit tariff challenge because she hears all the negative stuff that's going on. I said, no, for inventors that are looking now to get something done, we've got places like, Stitch, Kentucky that are opening up, and they're starting to ramp up and say, hey, let's do this, America, and let's make it in the U.S.
Yeah, and that's the point. And that's what's, there is a whole bunch of challenges, but you have to have a pro administration. And we try to keep politics out of the show, but sometimes politics does play a big part of what we do here. It's because at the end of the day, there is a lot of challenges of manufacturing here in the United States, not just the cost of the raw goods, but you have environmental issues because, we do have better manufacturers. We have better technology. We provide better air. We provide clean water. There's a whole bunch of factors. You just can't dump like China. Dump your raw sewage in a canal somewhere and don't care, if you're sitting with, 5 billion people, that if, 500 million die, they're not going to be missed, according to China. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy because all right, so we get a manufacturer that's willing to take on, the smaller jobs like Greg had told us about. It's like, go into one of these, they're making it here because we do that. We'll private label for somebody. So inventors have some opportunities here that they've never had before because everybody's really looking to make this work. And our job is to get the word out, help them out.
Well, and Guy Woods, one of our sponsors who was on the first hour with Green Products, American manufacturer, and he brought up a good question because I even asked him that same question as an American manufacturing. And he brought up something that I kind of like, what about shipping? And that's the problem. Shipping costs.
Oh, yeah.
It can make the difference. It's not as cheap as you think it is. And now when you make your product in the United States, you have more product control. You have more control on customer service. But at the end of the day, it might cost you a little bit more to manufacture here. But it's going to be upset by the cost of trying to ship it in that might upset that cost. So at the end of the day, I actually believe that American consumer will pay a couple pennies more if it's made here in the USA because they know the benefits of making products in the USA. Does that make sense, Rita?
Well, it does. And what we see is, all right, so you don't have the shipping costs. You have better quality of products. So there's not a failure rate. And for some of the inventors who were manufacturing, the failure rate was what really bit them. And so you've got that. And the other thing is, the inventor can go, I always say, you want to go to China, hire a travel agent. You shouldn't be going to China for manufacturing because one, you don't really understand the nuances. Most Americans don't understand the metric system. So you're going and you're, trying to talk Chinese. So, silly way to do it. And so now when you're going to, down the road, to another state to talk to the manufacturer, you're going to be able to communicate faster. You're going to have better manufacturing runs. They're going to be a higher quality. And okay, so they're a little bit higher in price, but now you didn't have to pay for shipping.
Yeah, and that's a good point right there. But there's a whole bunch of challenges in manufacturing in the United States. But at the end of the day, I think the benefits outweigh the problems of producing here, because I need to tell you, the quality of life that manufacturing communities have of a manufacturing plant in a community, you can't even compare it of how, these people live. The quality of life is just A+, when you have a manufacturing plant that provides the infrastructure that individual cities actually need. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Absolutely. And so, yes, we're bringing, jobs back. We're bringing, better quality back. It makes so much sense.
Yeah. Rita, man, I know you're getting your feet back below you and like going on, but what's where you think by when you was at the show, the attitude of the the manufacturer, I mean the entrepreneur, the inventor, what's their sense of their hope and optimism? I guess that's my question.
It was wonderful. Good question, because you know what? Everyone who had inventory sold all of it. And, when the shows that we used to go to before, they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
All right. So now they were able to sell, somebody walks by and says, oh, I'd like to buy one. Oh, I want to buy a case. Oh, when can you ship to me? Everybody who had inventory sold their inventory. The ones that just had prototypes, they got the feedback that allowed them to go home and make a difference, improve their product. This show was just dynamite. And I've got people signing up already for March 2026. Said, put me on the list. Send me how much is it going to be? Where are we going to be located? It's like, okay, just to, let's get this teed up and ready to rock and roll. But, everybody was so excited. ASD Market Week was excited. And, the economy was starting to shift then. So, yeah, all right, are we going to have issues with tariffs and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, but you know what? We've got consumers out there and they want new products. They want to know what's new, what is better, what's safer. We're looking at what's green. Well, we had green products out there. The guy that's got the fire hydrant that will put out a lithium fire, holy cow, that's a game changer. The gentleman that had acupressure. All right, no batteries involved, and it gives you an acupressure treatment in 5 minutes sitting at your desk. it's like, holy, you know what? I used it the first afternoon there. I did not have to use it again the entire time we were there. So yes, my mother wants one. She's going to get an AcuPress here for Mother's Day.
Well, Rita, we have to step away. We got to pay some bills here. And please visit our website at hometalkusa.com. You can check out all our sponsors, the Invent America, Made in America sponsors. It's all sitting there. It's all linked together. But check it out. We're going to take a short break. We have our first guests right here on the Invent America show. I'm the Cajun contractor, Michael King, along with the Inventor Lady. We're going to be right back. Y'all come back now, yeah? Welcome back to the Invent America show right here on the King's Broadcasting Network, along with my sidekick, the Inventor Lady herself, Rita Crompton. Rita, we have a real great sponsor for this segment. Would you mind reading the sponsor and tell us who it is?
I would love to read the sponsor for this segment. All right. Aztec Washer, a revolutionary and innovative way of taking care of your roof. They have been in business since 1968. You know what? If you're still in business after that long, you must be doing something right. Seal it right, seal it tight. Aztec Washer.
All right. Who's our first guest?
Our first guest today is Cindy Duncan. I have known Cindy for, going on 15 years or longer. And I've watched her go through the process with a variety of inventions. And, all this time, when she has been working on it, her goal has been wanting to manufacture in the U.S. And now as we've seen things starting to shift, holy cow, there are some options there. So Cindy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Glad to be here.
So tell our listeners about the Hotyz 2-in-1 chaps.
Oh, okay. They're kind of unusual. I used to raise Arabians and I needed to wear chaps. And then I got into soft tail Harley motorcycles. And I realized women have a wardrobe problem. So I saw the problem. And it's just got an insert that you zip and unzip. And you can wear them like regular chaps, or you can put in an insert that can change. So the money's in the inserts. And you zip it in and it's a full pant.
So when, somebody is out there and they've been, riding their Harley all day long, or they've been on horseback, they go into the ladies' room, zip in a new insert. And it's like they've changed their clothes completely.
Correct. You can be wearing leather chaps and have in the leather insert with your brand stamped on the back if you want, if you're in a ranch or a Harley club. And then you can go to the bathroom, unzip it halfway, do your business, zip it back up so you don't have to take all your clothes off. And then you can change your insert out, and you can have a sexy lace insert that you can zip in and it looks like you have jean pants on with your chaps over it, or you can put in a jean insert. So you have a jean insert, a lace insert, the leather insert, and you just change the looks of your chaps. And
Right.
It's all flare.
Well, and, you're only limited then, as far as a licensee goes, by the imagination of what you want to zip into it, right?
That's correct. And it's so easy to unzip. You can do it while you're walking.
So you've been working on this one for a long time. What have been the challenges of manufacturing overseas versus trying to find someone that can manufacture in the U.S.?
Well, I've only tried overseas twice, and that was just a hassle, mostly because of the purchase ordering and where it's going to land and whether they would take my IP. Now, the main problem that I had, mostly because I wanted to do it here, was that manufacturing here is very bad. And I've gone through 9 different prototypes, 9 manufacturers. They literally cannot even do top stitching right.
Huh.
They say they want patterns, and they say they want tech packs. I give them tech packs. I give them both tech packs patterns. They'll literally send me a prototype on a size 10 chap, and the insert will have a size 12 pocket. So the pockets overwhelm the insert. I mean, that's just the basics they cannot do.
Huh. So tell me about the zipper.
Well, my zipper, I created it because my inserts go along the edge of your posterior. So it's circular. And when I was making them, the cost to make them is, of course, how much time it takes. So for to make it. So you have to cut the zipper all along the curve. So me and my master tailor were trying to figure out how to do this. So what happened is we made the zipper elasticized. So now you don't have to cut the tape as you go along curves. And it cuts down on manufacturing time. You don't have the edges of the cut tape that'll ball up when you wash it. And with it being elasticized, the zipper has more give. So it's good for clothing, especially like in outdoor, because it has a lot more give and pull. Plus, it's good for like luggage. If you overstuff your luggage, the zipper will give more as opposed to a regular zipper. I basically revolutionized the zipper.
Well, excellent, because you know what? We've all got hundreds of zippers on different things in, our homes and everything that we buy from, different storage bags to the suitcases to our phones to our shirts and jackets and coats and gloves and turn it over or in the clover. All right. So when you are looking then at next steps, what are you trying to accomplish? What do you want to be able to do?
Well, I wanted my chaps so women would have them. It solves our problems with going to the restroom and having accessories and looking beautiful. I'll never give up on that. But I really do, now that I have my zipper patented, I need to go into the next steps of reaching out and getting exposure. And once people see just how versatile it is, I think it's just going to sell itself. I just need the exposure.
Excellent. Excellent. So, I remember the first time I met you, you were standing on a table demoing the inserts in the chaps. I thought all of the men were going to fall right off their chairs. They loved watching you. It's, all right. So for our listening audience out there, imagine this woman is so intent on her chaps, and she's standing on this table doing a demo on how you zip these things in and out. And the older men are just kind of tipping over in their chairs so they can watch her unzip these chaps. And, if you've never worn a pair of chaps, think about it. They are, yeah, you've seen cowboys, so I don't need to explain anymore, but holy cow, some of these guys were just so freaking, I'm watching the guys. And so no offense, Cindy, I thought the chaps were really cool, but I was watching the guys fall off their chairs.
I just ignored everything. I was so used to showing them that I got on the table and just started walking back and forth, and I wasn't even paying attention.
So, and our favorite one was Frank Armbruster, bless his heart. He just thought you were awesome. So, he's one of those rocket scientists I talk about, but, anyway. So, Cindy, thanks so much for being with us today. I appreciate it very, very much. We've got to run off and pay some bills, everybody, but stick with us because our next guest actually manufactures here in the U.S., and she helps other inventors manufacture textiles in the U.S., and she is out of the great state of Kentucky. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back with Stacey. everyone. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. This segment is brought to you by Liberty Tabletop by Cheryl Manufacturing. Liberty Tabletop is the only flatware made in the United States of America. So for all of your flatware needs, flatware, dinnerware, cookware, glassware, think libertytabletop.com. And our guest right now she's got a really great story. So she's an inventor and she's a manufacturer. So we're going to talk to Stacey Beeler from, I want to say Stitch, Kentucky, but I know that it's not called,
That's correct. That is correct. Stitch, Kentucky. Yes.
Well, okay. And so where exactly are you in Kentucky?
I am in Liberty, Kentucky. So when you were talking about Liberty Tableware, yes, we're located in South Central Kentucky.
Okay. All right. So I read your bio and you were an inventor. You did invent something. What did you invent?
Yes, ma'am. So when my son was 3, he had something that is the most scary thing in the world, and it's a febrile seizure. So we woke up in the middle of the night to Sawyer's temperature being just out of this world, and he was having a seizure. So when we get to the hospital, I asked my pediatrician, I said, is there something that we can put on him, some kind of device to let us know if his fever is going to go up again? And he said, no, there isn't anything like that. So I set out to try to figure out how to invent that. So it wasn't something that I could make in my garage or at my kitchen table. So it was a little difficult, but I did find the Whirlpool Mother of Invention contest. And so I entered my idea in it and I won first place. I won all kinds of wonderful Whirlpool appliances and a trip to Benton Harbor, Michigan. But it was a device that would actually be placed under someone's arm, and it would actually let your cell phone know if their fever went up. So we have since partnered with the University of Louisville with that, and they work with the Christopher Reeves Foundation because paraplegics have a difficult time monitoring their fever. So that's my invention, and we haven't done anything great with it, but we're still working on it. It's still out there.
Well, congratulations. That's a
yes.
big deal. Yeah, absolutely. I know we had a young woman who had early onset Parkinson's. So she had a feeding tube through high school and college, and there was nothing that they could find to treat that. And I got to give her credit, man. It's like, me do my own self, like my grandson taught me when he was 2. She went to college, became a chemist, and she found a solution to the problem. And we ended up licensing that to the company that makes the feeding tubes. And they go, we knew it was a problem. It's been a problem for decades, and we had no idea how to fix it. And so they went after then the FDA approval and the international approval, and they are now selling all over the world.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I may need you to help me, Rita. We may dig back into that. That's been several years ago. But that was my invention. So I also had a product that was Snap Dolls. And it was a children's t-shirt that actually worked like a paper doll on their shirt. And so that was fun.
Whoa.
That was more of a fun thing that we could make and do here.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got, when I went to your website and I looked at all the different types of things you make. So how did you get into being now owner of Stitch, Kentucky?
Well, the fact that we were making Snap Dolls, we started making those in our home in the garage, and Oshkosh was in our community about 20 years ago, and it employed over 400 sewing machine operators. And Fruit of the Loom was about 24 miles up the road from me. And so we were able to bring those people who had worked in those factories with the huge sewing skills that they had and be able to bring them in to work with us. So we went from making our own product to looking for products that we could sew for other people.
So what do you need then from someone to be able to take on their product? How far along do you need them to be?
We've worked with people in all stages. We've worked with people who just have an idea written on a dinner napkin. We've worked with folks who actually have made samples or they have a prototype, and we've taken it from there. We've grown our company to now we have over 50 seamstresses, and actually more that we could bring in if necessary. But as far as what we would need from them, it would just be their idea, Rita, and from that we could help them if it's something that's sewn or just a basic manufacturing skill. We can do that here in Kentucky.
All right, so give our listeners some ideas of the things you make.
Okay, sure. So we have made backpacks. There was a company that did a really neat thing. When people went out of the country, they would buy fabric wherever they were and bring it back, and we would turn that into backpacks. So that was a neat thing. We've made children's wear. We've made all kinds of dog and pet clothing, leashes, articles used by pets. Currently, we're making exercise outfits by a company that's out of Ohio. Our largest customer, we actually sewed for Toyota for a few, Toyota Bashoku, which is a feeder into big Toyota. And we sewed over 5,000 car door panels a day.
Wow,
So,
yeah.
we can do the very small orders or we can do the larger orders.
Amazing. So, with things that are shifting now in the country, how do you see that benefiting now being made in America?
And not to get into any kind of political stance, but if we can shift some of that into the United States, it would be huge. Just because, where we're working right now with Toyota Bashoku, and they're getting part of their products in Mexico and part that come into us, it's such a headache. If we find a mistake, we have to go back days or weeks with Mexico to correct that. Where if it's made right here in the United States, we can stop it within just an hour or so.
Wow.
So we're just not, that's one thing. And I guess if we can bring these jobs back to our people, it just is better all around.
Absolutely. I mean, Michael and I have talked about this. Greg Owens does the next hour that's made in the USA, made in America. And when we look at now things starting to shift, that pendulum starting to shift, that's a really good thing for us because we've been complaining about it for a long time, but now we can finally do something about it.
Right. No, that's exactly right. So we're just waiting to see. Hopefully we've been contacted by lots of companies who are hoping to shift some of their manufacturing into the United States. So hopefully we'll.
Yeah. I mean, and I know we've talked about this before. It's like people are sick of the bad quality of stuff. When things come in and it's like, I'm not sure what size 10 they were looking at, but obviously it was a size 2. And, then you've got a pair of gloves or something. Mine was the chandelier that fell off the holders and into the sink and cracked the sink. It's like, Lowe's, if you send me something that was made in China, I'm going to come back and throw it at you. And so that was, the whole thing is the quality is so bad. When you've got made in America, now you don't have to deal with the shipping and your quality is better.
Right. No, I agree. I totally agree.
And so we're excited. We're excited to be part of this new opportunity. We're excited to see the changes coming around and being able to say, okay, America, let's go back to what we were good at. It's like when they used to say, that's the school systems, before there was the federal school, education, we were number 1 in the world. And after now 50 years of having, the school board, we're number 47. So let's get our manufacturing back in the U.S. where we've got really good quality. So we're going to continue this conversation because it really gets me hot and bothered. Anyway, Stacey, I hope you don't mind if we pull you just a little bit into the politics part of it, but we're going to go now. Thank you. We're going to go now into our next segment. And right now we're going to go pay some bills. So everybody stick with us because we're having a really good time with, I'm not going to steal Greg's, Made in America. We're doing Made in America. Hang by, everybody. We're going to come right back with our guest, Stacey Beeler. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America invents. And this segment is brought to you by Trimislab. If you need to replace rotting or missing wood that you often see in driveway, sidewalk, deck, Trimislab installs incredibly fast. It looks great, and it can be removed when you need to. So trimislab.com for your home repairs. Thank you, Stacey, for being with us for this segment of Invent America. And we are part of history where we are seeing things shift from, I think we were part of both sides of that history. We saw things shift out of the country, and now we are fortunate to see things coming back to the country for a variety of reasons. And part of it is quality, part of it is expensive shipping. And now, holy cow, we get to see inventors, because that's generally what I'm dealing with, inventors now bringing their manufacturing into America. And when they get teed up and they've got something new, like the lady that I sent to you last week, it's wonderful for me to be able to say, all right, you know what? Call Stacey.
Yes.
So when you look at a variety of the different things that you are able to make, tell us some of those different categories. I mean, you told us dog products, leashes. I've got a guy that's been struggling with getting a leash made. He's got a metal part, but then he's got the leash part. So I might send him over to you.
Right.
We had a lady that did a hot tub product, and her issue was not just the bag, which she could have had made in the U.S. It was the weights that went into it had to have been shipped from China. So you're looking at, all right, so is it possible to ship in part of the product to you so that you could make the base and then package it and get it shipped out?
Sure. And a good example of that, my nephew actually has an invention that he is selling, and it's called Sticky Grippy. It's a grippy that goes on the back of a cell phone. And if you're in your kitchen and want to stick it on the wall, or if you're in the bathroom and you want to stick your phone on the mirror while you're getting ready, whatever you need to do. Well, that's what he did. And so he wanted a neat packaging to go with that. So we actually sewed a drawstring bag. So he did get that made in China. And then once it came here, we were able to do a packaging for it. So we can do that type of thing as well.
Excellent. So I know there's another company in California. I will send you their contact name because you might be able to do some of that for them. They're Packwell Manufacturing, and their packaging is all done here in the U.S., but their specialty now is not the fabric ones. It is the blister packs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the CEO, her grandfather was the inventor of the blister pack.
Oh, how neat.
I know, right?
I would love to meet them. So
I will send you their contact information. That's one of the big things we do. It's like, oh, let me send you this person's contact information. No, let me send you over here to Stacey and have her see if she can make that for you. But that is what we do for inventors, is give them good service providers, give them options. But it's wonderful then when we have an actual service provider like you that we can put together with another service provider.
yeah, it's great. And you know, another thing, and Rita, you can speak to this way more intelligently than I can, but one of our clients is bringing in different parts and then we're assembling it. So on her package, she has assembled in the United States. So maybe all the parts, the snaps being used, and there are a couple of things that she actually is not having made here, but where we are assembling it, she can put that on her packaging.
Yes, absolutely. And I learned this from Greg Owens from, Made in the USA hours. You've got to be very careful because the government, really watches that stuff. But when it's assembled, then that is the line that you're able to use. So it's better than nothing. All right. When you can't say made in America, but you can at least know that something part of it was done. And then if you're able to do, the packaging and, the warehousing and shipping from, a company like Packwell that does all of their stuff in-house. Those are all good things for our economy.
Absolutely. And we would love to be a part of that for anyone who needs anything assembled or warehoused or anything.
So how long have you been with Stitch Kentucky?
So we started out in a very small building 10 years ago downtown. Stitch Kentucky was first originally named Bluegrass Cut and Sew. And when we moved into a larger building, now we're in a much larger warehouse where we've got lots and lots of space. So we need some more business. But when we moved there, that was 3 years ago. So we've been rolling for about 10 years.
All right. So you know what? Don is not here to defend himself. But how did you meet Don Skaggs? Because he is on the radio with us multiple times a year. And I have known this guy for, pushing 15 years now. But how did you meet him?
Don Skaggs is such an incredible guy, and I had heard of him different times when I was working with people. They would say that Don Skaggs sent on there. So Don actually came to me with one of his clients who was needing a product sewn related to underwear. And so
I know that guy. I know who it is. Yeah.
Okay, good. So we're sewing now for them. We're really excited about their product. And
Yeah.
that's all I can tell about it at this time. But that's how I met Don. But he is such an asset, and he really has helped us in a lot of ways since we met him.
Well, he is a terrific guy. And I am going to send out your name and contact information to all of the Inventor groups in America so they can get you on as a speaker. I'm going to post your stuff. I'm certainly going to get your information to Greg because he does the Made in America Hour. He may have you on as a guest as well. But I know there are things that we can do to help Stitch Kentucky get to those next steps. And we will have you back on again, hopefully when we get you a couple of inventors so that you can brag about some of the things that you've done.
Yeah.
And this has been wonderful. I was so glad I was at that meeting where Don introduced me to you. And now we have got the option of introducing you to America. So Stacey, thanks so much for being part of our group. And America, you know what? Next week, we are going to have another hour, Invent America. If you know an inventor out there who is ready to go with a product, who's got questions about a product, who needs help on a product, or you know what, just wants to sign up to show off on the radio, have them get in touch with Rita at inventorlady.com. And thanks everyone for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.